they have discovered what his real will is. And a lot of guys were affected. Now, is Tommy here tonight?
No.
Well, he's probably making out his will.
Yeah.
Tommy left all of his vital organs to medical science, and they're going to see if they can get any of them started. You know what today is before I go on? An anniversary? It's the 770th anniversary of Genghis Khan.
Wow.
Now, look, I know all you Genghis Khan fans want to celebrate tonight, so for lunch, why don't you go out and rape and plunder a Denny's coffee shop? Why not? Anyway, Howard Hughes is making more headlines after he is dead than when he was alive. There's a lot of controversy surrounding his will, and some people say it's real, some people say it's not real, because he misspelled a few words in the will, apparently. But, you know, that could happen, right? And I found out that Howard Hughes was never a good speller. It says on his tombstone, "Here lays Howard Hughes." Instead of "Here lies Howard Hughes." So that's, see, it's lie, lay, lain, or have laid. And I'm going to join him shortly, I have a feeling. Do you get the feeling that maybe Hughes isn't dead after all? He just buried a tall wino so he could have some peace and quiet? They say that Hughes believed in reincarnation, and he said he wanted to come back as a Maytag repairman so nobody would ever bother him. That's what he said in his will. Did you read one of the beneficiaries of the will? It was a gentleman who runs a service station, and Hughes left him, according to the will, $156 million. Yes, he was a service station attendant. He befriended Hughes or something, or loaned him a quarter.
Yeah.
And he left him 1/16 of his estate, which amounts to 156 to a guy who runs a gas station. Actually, it wasn't 150. It was $156 million and 9/10. He left to this guy who runs the gasoline station. Hughes also left $100 million to his ex-girlfriends, $1 each. He was a busy man. You know what he left the city of Long Beach? Remember the flying boat? They're called the Spruce Goose that they built years ago. When was it? About 1941 or 42? And he flew it once. It was made out of plywood. It's been sitting down in the harbor in Long Beach. He left the city of Long Beach, the Spruce Goose, and they don't want it. And they don't know what to do with it. They've had a couple of offers. Marlon Perkins, you've seen Marlon Perkins on Animal Kingdom, offered to buy it. He's got a great idea. He wants to throw a brunch for 400 beavers. He also had some strange bequests in his will you may not be familiar with. Hughes left $2 million to medical research to discover a cure for crowds. He willed $3 million to the first Eskimo who can prove he is shy. Was one of his bequests. And he left $22 million in trust for his Venetian blind fund. As I say, he was weird, and Howard wasn't too funny either, but those are some of the bequests. Well, we have an exciting show for you tonight. We really do. You'll never know how exciting this show is. Later on, Hubert Humphrey will be our guest. He will be out here to sing "Your Lips Say No, No, But There's Yes, Yes in Your Eyes." No, we have a gentleman I've been trying to get on this show, whom I'm a great admirer of, who I think is one of the most entertaining people in the world, has never been with us, is joining us tonight. Paul Lynde is with us tonight. Hey, everybody.
Have him on.
What? What'd you say?
I said wonderful.
Mr. Maclean Stevenson is also with us tonight. This is going to be a fun one. The gentleman we refer to almost reverently as Mr. Baseball. Mr. Bob Uecker is here. Mr. Baseball. And we have our matinee lady, Miss Carol Wayne, who's going to join the mighty Carson. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back.
Good group.
We should be
Yeah.
fun. No, that's true. I think the people thought I was, if you haven't read the paper, making that up about Hughes leaving according to the one will they found. There are going to be people picking up hitchhikers all over the country now.
Yeah.
Remember when they say do not pick up a hitchhiker? And this is what this fellow did in 1968. Mel Dullard or Dumar? Dumar. Was in Utah, but at that time he was in Nevada. He was driving along. He saw this, according to Mr. Dumar, or what was that, Dumar?
I think it's Dumar, yes.
This fellow standing there, he said he was thin, tall, about 6'2", had a little gash on his cheek or something, and he wanted to lift into Las Vegas.
He was bleeding.
He was bleeding or something. He was going to
here.
take him to the hospital, and the guy said he's Howard Hughes, and this fellow says, you know, you got to be kidding, because the guy borrowed a quarter from Mr. Dumar.
Mm-hmm.
And,
To make a phone
and he
call.
dropped him back at the Sands Hotel, and according to the will they uncovered, he left him 1/16th of his estate.
A good Samaritan.
And 1/16th comes to, according to the papers, 125 million.
56,250,000.
You read carefully, don't you? $156 million.
Yeah, 250,000. And it turned out this fellow was a Mormon, which is another unique part of that, too, because he was so interested in the Mormon church.
Well, they're trying to determine whether the will is legitimate. Wouldn't that little bit of information itself make it look fairly legitimate? Who would else know about that incident?
Right.
Besides this gentleman and Howard Hughes. I mean, somebody couldn't make that up
No.
and put it in a will.
No.
It was written in 1968, could they?
No.
You didn't get anything, did you?
Not a word, no.
I
Nothing.
haven't heard a thing. Anyway, tonight.
I'm hoping that, you know, that you'll remember me.
Look, kid, when I go, you go.
That's the deal?
That's right. Didn't you?
Is that,
Did you ever read the NBC contract?
When I signed that
Carson
contract-
goes, you go. Even if you're in perfect health, they execute
That's it,
you
right.
and they put you.
Do you
All right.
realize tonight is a kind of an anniversary for us as well? This is the end of 4 years on the West Coast.
That is right. We've been out here in California for 4 years.
Yeah.
And we have Maclean Stevenson with us tonight, Bob Uecker, Mr. Baseball, Carol Wayne. We're going to do a tea time movie for you tonight. And here's a gentleman I've been trying to get on this show for a long time. He's a brilliant comedy actor. He's got so many awards to his credit, including 4 Emmys for Hollywood Squares alone. And he has not been a night. That's true. 4. What's so funny about that? You think I'm making it up? He's won 4 Emmys for his appearance on that show. And he used to do concert work in nightclubs. I didn't know that. Did you, about Paul? And he is returning this summer after 23 years absence. That's called getting an act together, right? And he's going to be at, get this, the Valley Forge Music Fair in Devon, Pennsylvania, June 7th to the 13th. The Painters Mill Music Fair, Owings Hill, Maryland, June 15th to the 20th. The Storyton Theater, West Springfield, Massachusetts, June 21st to 26th. The Westbury Music Fair, Westbury, Long Island, June 18th, July 4th. The Shady Grove Music Fair, Gaithersburg, Maryland, July 6th to the July 10th. He's another Bob Hope, Paul.
Right.
Would you welcome Mr. Paul Lynde?
No, you're so hard to shop for, John. No, you've got everything. But I know you love pencils. So, you fiddle with that and stay off my back. Or do whatever you want to do.
That's an exact duplicate of the dumb pencils I sit here and play with. Somebody sent me from an advertising. Yeah, this exact duplicate, the Bonert Advertising Company. That's nice. Now, most people don't bring me gifts.
Well,
you see it? You've got style.
I was so pleased to find out your 4th anniversary, so consider it that.
got
Out here in sunny California.
You got style and class. How are you?
Fine, but, you know, Peter gives paper clips for nervous guests on Hollywood
Yeah.
Squares. What do you give for nervous people?
Now, why would you get nervous, really? Now, I've asked you to do this show before, and I know you're busy. And
Well-
we kept coming to you, and I said, hey, come on, Paul, drop on the show some night. You know, just come in and say hello.
I watched the show, and I think you're the greatest, and I don't know. It's that I've, you know, I'm on Squares 7 nights a week, and maybe if I guest on a show, that's 8 nights a week, and I think we're all worried about being on too much, and I just feel that squares are so revealing, and but people constantly ask me why I don't, and I really don't know, other than I'm just absolutely scared to of coming out and being myself.
Oh, come on now.
I usually, when I go out in the summer, the last 6 summers have gone out in the play, and I'm very secure
You got a
in
role
a
to
play
hide
because
in?
I can hide behind the character. And this summer I'm going out as Paul Lynde, and I won't lie about it. I'm terrified, but
Do you ever
everyone
notice how
says
much-
I'm going to have a lot of fun.
Do you ever notice how much more ridiculous you can be when you get into a costume? I love to do pieces where I get in
Well,
and
and
play a
you're
sketch
brilliant
because
doing
you
it.
can absolutely go bananas, and it's not like you're doing it.
That's right. If
It's
they don't like it, it's not you.
They
It's
say the character
you're playing.
didn't play well tonight, and you get away from it. And you talk about the character in the third person. Somebody will say, what do you like? I said, yeah, Art Fern character I love to do. And I remove it from myself, which is, I want to ask you something. How do you get away with the jokes you do on Hollywood Squares? You people come up with some of the wildest answers. We couldn't get away with it this time of night.
I don't know. I'm doing. I'm going to do some of the my favorite questions and answers over the years on Squares, and a woman has evidently taped all of the dirtiest ones. I mean, or she has the dirtiest mind. I forget I had any. I didn't know we got away with them.
Oh.
And we were running them over the other night, and I just couldn't. I said, maybe she's reworded them, but it is. She taped them. I don't realize it at the time, but when I'm in a store or like a Safeway or something like that, someone will yell, the question. Well, maybe I said it 4 years ago, and I don't remember last night.
I saw one
And
the
they
other week.
expect you
I
to.
think this might have been a repeat. And the question was to you. Peter Marshall says, Paul, can you get a pound of feathers out of a goose? And you said, I got him in there, didn't I?
I'm glad you remembered.
And I fell right off of the couch.
I'm glad you remembered.
Crazy show. How many of those have you done?
I'm going into my 10th year. I've been on it. I've been on it 9 years as a regular. The first year I was very insecure about doing it because I don't know. Yeah, I'm really a script man, and I like to know what I'm doing. And so the first year I would not become a regular, and it's just like, when people interview me, like on the summer tours and so forth, I use your example a lot. You weren't that hot the first year.
No, I
But
was warming up to it.
I say it's experience, and I say, look at Johnny Carson. I said, watch how each year he just seems to get more fantastic. And I said, it's a word that, especially I tell young people that never put it down. It's called experience, and it
there's
shows.
no equating for it. I think, the
Really?
first year I did the show, I was absolutely, I really didn't know which
I was
direction.
rooting for you, but and
Didn't know which direction to go with it.
But boy, I tell you, what you've done in the last years, it's unbelievable. You have no peer.
Hey, thank you. That's not you, brother. Thank you. Now, when I introduced you tonight, Doc went right into an impression. Rich Little does you. Rich makes his living imitating other people.
Do you know who does the best?
Who?
Rich Little's brother.
Rich Little's
He
brother?
did it one night on The Tonight Show. Rich was on the show and brought him out of the audience. And I really think it's the best I've ever seen. And it's the only imitation he does. Rich Little's brother. Which is amazing.
How did you develop another particular style? You have a style of delivery. You got a style of takes, which we all
I
pick
don't know.
up a little here.
I don't
Just
know.
over the
People
years.
ask me that over the years, and I think timing is what you're born with. I think that is your talent. I think it makes you distinctive. No one's like you, and that's God-given to you. And I prefer not to know what it is. People say, do you believe in analysis and things like that? I do for many people, but I don't for performers. I think it should be a mystery.
It's like trying to
I don't think
analyze-
you should know yourself that well.
It's like trying to analyze comedy. There is nothing duller than to sit around with people
it's
and say, let's
impossible.
discuss why people laugh. We don't
They
know.
laugh
We don't know.
because they happen to dig your timing, and it coincides with theirs or something. Because you can't be universal. There are people that that can't like everybody. There are very few people working in the business. But I will tell you the funniest thing that ever happened to me in regard to a fan, in regard to what we're just talking about. We went with Hollywood Squares up to British Columbia, and we were out having fun during an evening in a local discotheque, and I was with Karen Valentine, and I forget who else, but we were having a ball. And this man came over, and he really had one too many, and we had two, but we still weren't like him. And he came over and he said, are you Paul Lynde? And I said, yes. And he says, oh Listen, promise me you won't move. I'll be right back. And he went on. And I said, I'll stay. I won't move. And he says, because my wife, I've got to bring her over. She just hates you. I've never had anything like that.
It's funny how they can give it to you and then take it back.
boy.
And the same thing, just when you think you're sailing. It's like people come up to you. You ever get this compliment? I caught the show last night. And you sit there and you wait for some kind of accolade, or it was sensational, or it stunk. So you never know what to read in there. I saw you on the show the other night, and you go. They walk away.
It's like people that come back in your dressing room. You want liars. You don't want frank, honest people.
You want people to
Really,
how
they don't want to
wonderful
say,
you were.
when they start out with, I think I know you well enough, and I just say, get out!
Yes,
I want you to
I'm
lie.
a friend of yours, aren't I? You say, go away.
Go away.
I got to take a break. We're coming right back. Stay where you are. We're back. We're talking with Paul Lynde, and Maclean Stevenson's here tonight, and Bob Uecker, and Carol Wayne, and the mighty Carson art players. I found out you were not a particularly good, I don't know whether this is part and parcel of being a performer, that you were not particularly great in school either. I mean, you were not the valedictorian of the class.
I was real good in high school, and then in college, I don't know if it was cloudy or it was somebody's birthday, I didn't go to school, and
Cloudy days are bad
I
for
became very
education.
social, and I entertained a lot, and I would play that against the faculty and so forth, because I do alumni things and so forth like that for the school. But you're right about right up to the closing of my college career. It was probably the biggest crisis of my life. Your grades go home first to your father, and you don't know what they are. And my dad called, and he can be frank, and he said, "What the hell is V?" And when you're panicking, I said, valedictorian. What else? And so it was a snap course. It was one of those courses where everybody else in it was football players. And I think it was drawer arrangements or something like that. And
sock sorting and that type of thing.
It really snapped back on me. And I went to this professor who I thought had no humor. And he said, V is for visitor. He said, you've never been in this class. And I had to finally go. I went to everyone but the governor of Illinois, because my dad was already in the car on the way. Well, you don't tell him out on Deering Meadow with your, the no cap and gown, Dad, sorry. And he was on his way.
Well, they weren't even going to graduate.
No, absolutely not. And I went to everyone, and they started passing the buck and everything, and the dean of speech school would say, well, if you can get this person, and sort of like that. So finally, God bless him, the highest authority, I did not know that, at a university, is called the Student Senate. And they held a special meeting, and I'm not kidding him, my dad to this, that day never knew it. The ink was really wet on my diploma, really wet. But the Student Senate passed me the morning when I think the orchestra was playing. It was that kind of, but it's amazing what you can do when you have to do something.
Is
really.
it though?
Oh, I tell you, I would not take no. I had to graduate.
Yeah. What'd you do right after graduation?
I went to New York.
Yeah.
Then, there was not that much television, and I played around a lot, I'm ashamed to say, and I lost my father, and neither one of my parents ever saw me do anything, but it's an awful thing to say, but I think my father's passing made me do something finally.
Really?
I had no more help, and it's amazing what you have to do when you have to do it. And I started writing, which I really didn't think I could write because I couldn't afford, to buy material. And I wrote a number and entered an amateur contest at No. 1 Fifth Avenue, which is still down there. And it got me my first break. And luckily, Leonard Selman, which is magic, and it's great in those days when I was in New York. There were marvelous little showcases like that where you could showcase yourself. Because you can't get an agent. And
You had all those little reviews.
they were marvelous. And that was what magic that happened for me. Leonard Selman saw me do this number and put me in his first Broadway show.
How come it's been 23 years since you've gone out now in the concert field?
Mainly because of trauma, really. The last time I ever worked in a nightclub was the Versailles in New York. And I can talk about it because it's no longer there. I think it was in the Round Table and it was something else. But it was one of the most expensive nightclubs, I think, in the world. There were no prices on the menus, and I think water was 85 cents. And most of the time when you were on, the police were there fighting with the customers because they would just scream, "I don't carry that much money on me," you know, because the bill could be $500 and $600. In those days, it's a lot of money today, but in those days it was unbelievable. And I'm not kidding you, I played there 16 weeks, 2 shows a night, and I bombed every performance. And the owner of the club, he would not fire me. I would go and plead with him. And there's a story that a lot of comedians tell around, but it's mine. It truly happened. One night I was doing the best thing I had, really, at that time, was the African monologue. And the people ringside, suddenly while I was in the middle of the monologue, got up and started dancing. And there's no music in my act.
See, that's a tip-off right there.
They just couldn't wait any longer. Really, it was incredible. And it was that way all the time.
See, when people dance during the monologue, that is the first hint that I have found that you're in trouble.
And I played another club, Spivvy's Roof. Do you remember Spivvy's
Roof?
It was it was a penthouse club, and very, very in when it was hot. Well, I closed it.
Closed Spivvy's?
I closed Spivvy's. I really did. I was the last person to perform there. And, you know, as I said, it was up on top of the roof. And Spivvy and I'd be sitting back in the corner all alone, and we'd hear the elevator, and she'd say, "Get your props, you're on." And I would get my props out, and it was just the elevator man. He was lonely and wanted to talk to us, or the landlord trying to collect the rent. It was just incredible. And, you know, Spivvy, when we did have people, like on the weekend, I would announce her after I was through, and she'd run in the John and lock herself in there till the club closed. She never would come on. She would as soon as the club closed. And Judy Garland and Martha Ray and Judy Holliday, they used to come in, and Spivvy would entertain all night long for them. But she would not for the audience. And finally, one night I went to work, and when I came, the piano was down on the sidewalk under the canopy, so I knew it was over.
And the elevator man was dancing. It's wrap-up time. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Stay where you are.
Thank you, Doctor. It's time once again, friends, for our visit to one of the mainstays of daytime television, the late afternoon movie host, who brings you old pictures and sells everything and anything in sight. So please welcome that exciting guy, your host for today's Tea Time movie, your friend and his lovable Art Fern.
Hello, feature film freaks. Art Fern here with today's feature film. Marty Allen, Alan Dale, Dale Evans, Dale Carnegie, and Erecto, the Wonder Eel, in Abbott and Costello. In Abbott and Costello, visit a leper colony. But first, ladies, are you tired of looking like Phyllis Diller in Electrical Storm? Is your skin getting so leathery that customs inspectors are beginning to search your face? Are you unhappy with your body? When explorers announce they're searching for the abominable snowman, do you lay low? Are you forbidden to enter buildings to say no pets? You have to make an appointment. You have to make an appointment to get bothered by a peeping Tom? Is your trouble unwanted hair plus an unwanted face? Well, now you can put all that behind you by signing up for the new Elena Frankenstein beauty course, which you can do at home in the privacy of your own face. Yes, every cosmetic and beauty aid you could possibly need to be the envy of every yenta on your block is in two handy kits. Speaking of handy kits, here's our matinee lady.
Beauty is skin deep, you know.
We'll find out how deep it is later. Yes, friends. With the Elena Frankenstein home beauty course, you'll no longer your face will look like it's been slept in. Never again will your husband take you on a plane trip in a carrying case. In just 2 weeks, you can lose 20 pounds and $200. For $25, we'll give you a complete facelift, and for only $10, we'll lower your body. We have all the latest equipment and treatments to make your body beautiful. Send for the Elena Frankenstein home beauty kit, and we'll make a new woman out of you, even if you're a man. First, it's going to be a long night here at the end. First, we have the new Elena Frankenstein lipstick, which comes in small, medium, or Lovelace. And for you ladies with larger mouths and fuller lips, we include this handy lipstick applicator. Try our home mud pack treatment. We send you a box of dirt taken out of Helena Frankenstein's backyard. You merely add water. And that's not all. You get a pamphlet on beauty, in which the matinee lady gives you 2 big tips. What are these two big beauty tips, matinee lady?
Eat and sleep.
Right.
But not with him.
Never mind. We have wigs for every occasion. Try our new afro. If it gets too heavy, you can take it off and sit on it. Take advantage of our bicentennial wig. Friends, try our latest in herbal essence shampoo, Tropic Poo, made of coconut and banana oils. There is a side effect to watch out for. A monkey may suck on your head, and this is one of our pride and joys. Lemon and lime dew. Over 50 real lemons and limes are jammed into each bottle. Use this, and at a party you can squeeze your head into your drink. And for you ladies who are flat-chested, we will improve your bust through the use of silicone, but not painful injections or implants. We give you loose fistfuls of silicone to stuff into your bra.
That's better living through chemistry.
It certainly is. Friends, our scientists have come up with a new bust-developing lotion that'll give you new, lovelier proportions.
Before I used it, I had no bust line to speak of.
Now there isn't enough time to speak of it.
My boyfriend thought they were just little bee stings. This lotion has done wonders for me.
You said a handful, and here, friends, is what this lotion looks like. It's easy to apply. You just take it out of your jugs and put it on our jugs. You do whatever you want to with it. And men, let us not forget you. Compared to you, is Marty Allen starting to look good? Is it difficult to hold your head up because of the weight of your dandruff? Are you gross and overweight? Are you men worried about losing your hair? Toupees don't fool anyone, and hair transplants are too expensive. Elena Frankenstein will give you the ultimate transplant, a plant transplant. We send you a special shampoo made from grass seed and fertilizer. Here is a photo of one of our customers before his plant transplant. And here he is a full 3 weeks later with a full head of leaves. No more trips to the barber. Once a week you water, once a year you rake. You'll know when autumn is coming by looking in your bathroom mirror. Men, send for the latest thing in home beauty and grooming, the Fix Your Head First Kit. That's right, friend. This kit comes with a set of combs. We cater to your personal needs. Here's a comb for left-handed persons, a comb for right-handed persons. We also have the new Telly Savalas model comb. Here is the Alice Cooper model for people who haven't combed their hair since 1948. Here's our comb for people with a heavy dandruff problem. And now back to our movie starring Harry James, Art James, Jesse James, James Dean, Dean Jones, January Jones, and Pecker the Wonder Bird. In our double feature, Laverne and Shirley Get a Cramp, and King Kong Fertilizes Kansas. We'll be right back, friends. Oh, we're back already. Friends, let me ask you this question. Is your furniture old and shabby? When company drops in, do you throw a sheet over your sofa and claim you're painting the house? Does your dog refuse to jump on your favorite chair because he's afraid of getting his paws dirty? Are your chairs breaking up to a point where you're finding splinters in your preparation H? Then you, by all means, should drop by California's leading discount furniture warehouse, Tacky City. That's right, friends. At Tacky City, you'll find 200,000 square feet filled to the rafters with furniture. Why do we have so much furniture stocked in our warehouse? Because the fire didn't come off as planned, friends. Visit our huge showroom where you'll see living room, dinette, and bedroom pieces. And speaking of bedrooms, our furniture, like the matinee lady, is fully upholstered.
Would anyone like to see a swatch?
At Tacky City, you choose from a wide variety of room settings. You tired of French provincial and Italian provincial? Then try our German provincial. Instead of sitting on a chair, you squat on a helmet, friends. Are you forced to cut your food budget so when you sit down at your dining room set, there's nothing to eat? Well, you'll always have something to eat when you sit at our dinette set, because our dinette set is completely edible, friends. $200 for nothing. Friends, how about a coffee beanbag chair? There you are, a coffee beanbag chair. Don't sit too long, friends, or else your fanny will be awake all night. At Tacky City, courtesy is our password. We'll sell you at 40% off. How can we do this? Because we cut out the middleman and deal directly with the fence. We have a full line of clocks, wall clocks, floor clocks, ceiling clocks. We specialize in grandfather clocks. You can have a cuckoo clock with a bird in or out. And that goes for your grandfather, too. Folks, do your decorating at Tacky City. Even if you're evicted, you'll own the kind of furniture you'll be proud to have on the street. You can see our complete line of furniture with every price clearly marked in the catalog.
They could go through my brochures.
Everyone's been through your brochures. Could you use a large chest, friends?
I could use a large chest.
You could use a set of curb feelers for the one you've already got, friends. We have beds. I'm growing old before my eyes here. We have beds in all sizes, regular, twin, double, and queen. We have a queen size that folds into the wall, called our closet queen. Friends, you'll like that. Here's an example from our brochure. This beautiful item, where is it? This beautiful item was made in Taiwan. Incidentally, so was the bed. All of our furniture is beautifully finished by George Montgomery's brother, Shecky. Here's a smart item, friends, a rear view mirror for your bedpost. If you buy right now, we'll throw in this lovely painting. This was painted by an actual dwarf in Paris. That's why it's blank. He couldn't reach the easel. Here's a nifty item, a bar stool with a net around it.
I got caught.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay.
I got caught in the net once.
I beg your pardon.
I got caught in the net once at a fisherman's convention.
Your whole life sounds fishy to me. Anyway, friends, visit our special antique section. Here's our antique chair sale of the week. This chair was so old, it was made before they invented chair legs. Oh, boy. The Versailles room, you ought to be here. Here, friends, is a lovely Daniel Boone ottoman. If you act right now, I'm so tired. We will give you friends.
So you had trouble at the old Versailles Club, huh? Well, when it's time to get off, get off. Makes no difference if you got material left, folks. Maclean Stevenson is here tonight. I suppose he's been out. He's got a golf tournament, right? You've got a golf tournament. He has been out, I guess, around the country playing in golf tournaments. Would you welcome our Prince of Polyester, Maclean Stevenson? God, I wish I had 3 shells and a pea. You look like you came right out of the North 40.
You notice anything different about me at all?
Yeah, you gotta wear a check coat.
Well, I've worn that about 7 times
Have you?
before.
Well, obviously. Now, I'm not gonna play dumb. Of course, you're wearing cowboy
shirt.
boots.
This is a brand new shirt. I got it just for the show. I'm wearing the cowboy boots. Sure, I just come back from Houston, Texas. How long is it before you stop? Well, how long is it before you stop talking like those folks?
Boy, it's easy to...
I'll tell you, 5 minutes after I got off the plane.
Good old boy, you doing all that?
Yeah. Doug Saunders met me. Says, how's your mom and them? And for the next 2 days, I didn't draw a sober breath or talk regular. Unbelievable.
All Texas lingo?
Oh, yeah. Had it. I was walking down. They're just the most wonderful people. They come up to you and they say, McLean, we're just so glad you're here. This is my wife, Margie Dell. We're from Fentworth. That's 57 miles northwest of Houston. We've been living down here 45 years. My dad was in the railroad business, and my mom's got oil wells. We got a lot of cattle and a nice 23-year-old daughter. We're sure glad you're here. And then they leave. You know?
You always give a history.
Yeah, and you don't even get a chance to say hello. I loved it. I just loved it down there. Rained a little bit. Rains just about every day in Houston, just a tad. They had 3 inches in 12 minutes down there.
Did they,
Doug Sanders said one of the funniest things I ever heard.
He's a
in my
funny
life.
guy.
He is. He's the guy that told you, I think, golf is a good way to screw up a nice walk.
That's right.
He said it's 40,000 people lined up at $7 a shot to come in and watch the celebrities, quote unquote, and the pros play. And it starts to rain, and Doug just stand there looking at it, and he looks over at me and he says, "You know, Maclean, if I bought a pumpkin farm, they'd outlaw Halloween." I love them.
You enjoy playing on those things?
Oh, I love it.
I tried it once, and I gave up golf like Paul did because I don't know if you ever played or not.
No.
I used to play, but I could not stand that standing in front of the galleries with somebody like Julius Boros or Sam Snead and have to hit a ball.
Well, I gave
Little
up.
ladies would drop along, with a ball embedded right about here. See, the strange thing about this is when the pros tee off, everybody crowds right up to the fairway, which may be 20 yards wide. Now the amateur comes up, and they still stand there, like you're going to drill the ball like a rifle. And, of course, you don't. Some little lady drops like hard as a carp right in the tracks. Right, you catch her in the bridge of the nose.
I take my insurance agent with me, put him right there on the right side. I hit 4 people on the first tee, and they're so nice. And we don't care. Do it again. We just love you. It's true, though. It's terrible. They'll run up just in your backswing and ask you for an autograph.
Are you any good when you play golf? I don't know. I think you talk about it on the show.
I tell you the truth. I was hoping you'd
good?
ask. Today, I got to tell you something. Today, I woke up, which is not terribly important. I know that. But and got in my little car.
It's a good way to start a day, though.
It certainly is. And smashed my thumb in the car door. Now, it's like 6:30 in the morning. And there's no point in taking a close-up of this, but just trust me, folks.
Yes, it's a little blue.
And a little blue, yeah, and puffy. And I had to get the car door open because I didn't want to yell, and wake everybody in the neighborhood up, so I got in the car and let it go. I got out to the golf course, actually could not move my right hand, and shot a 74.
Well, that's very good score.
Oh, I'll tell you that's good.
So if tomorrow morning you're going to get out and...
I'm going to have to hit my thumb every morning before I go out to do it. That's how much I love the game.
Well, then you're a good golfer, obviously.
I love playing with the ladies. I've played in a lot of their tournaments. It's more fun for me. It's very difficult to play with the guys because they do much better than the average guy. The ladies, you can get emotionally involved with them. You know what I mean?
That's right. You're single, man.
Well, sure. But I mean, even if I weren't, I don't think it'd be much fun to mess around with Arnold Palmer or Lee Trevino. I mean, cute and all, but sit around and eat Mexican food and drink Dr. Pepper all night. That doesn't sound like much fun to me. But, heck, you can go out there with Laura Baugh or Jan Stevenson, any one of those ladies, and go out and have a
few pretty ones on the
cheeseburger and a Coke after. My biggest problem down there in Houston is I don't drink too good. I practice my golf like the devil. Boy, I went out and hit balls for 2 weeks to get ready for that, but I didn't practice my drinking. And, whew, they really put her away down there. First thing in the morning, they gave us a little tea prize. I was kind of disappointed. We got the boots. You know Larry Mayhem, the rodeo star?
Yeah.
He plays in cowboy boots with spikes on them. He gave me these. And I stole a hat off a guy named Jerry Maclean, country western singer.
Yeah.
He just passed out on the floor and I picked it up off his head and wore it home on the plane.
They go pretty good, don't they?
Yeah. Oh, he's a good
Rodeo
singer,
crowd.
too. But I don't drink well. And the first thing they do is like they come in, they give you a little get acquainted box. And it's 3 bottles of booze in a velour bag. And I generally bring those back. I play in a lot of these just to get the tea prizes.
Oh, I see.
You get the shirts and the sweaters, you can do a week of Hollywood Squares if you do 5 of these tournaments. And but this, they give you the dumb boots and a bottle of booze. And this guy comes down and says, "Bo, we're sure glad you're here, Maclean. We just love you on MASH. We haven't been on it in 2 years." And stuff like, "We'll see you every night."
Yeah.
Well, you going to have breakfast? No, this is at 7. And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Good. Let's have a little start right here." And went and we killed that first bottle right in the room before I brushed my teeth and got my jammies off. Oh, yeah. They just, yeah. And the humidity is so, you perspire a lot.
Yeah.
And I think I've told you this before, for a kid that wasn't allowed to sweat till he was 23, I could actually drink the stuff that was running off my nose and get by. It's like vodka and
That's
lime.
a fresh crowd you're with.
Oh, but I love them. They're just great people. I love that town.
Yeah.
How you doing down there, y'all? I love you.
Is that your favorite place to go? The ball? Thank you.
Well, I like Bakersfield now, too.
Bakersfield?
I met a guy, give you some idea what my flight back was like. I'm hungover. Took me 20 minutes to get the left boot on. The right one goes on fine, but I got a high arch. Oh, hell, you don't care. Anyway, I got a high arch.
Well, of
Now, I
course
got
I
to show you.
care.
This is the truth. I got a sweat sock on this leg, and I had to go get a guy to get me a blue one so I could get this one on. I can't get it on.
Because you have a higher arch on your left foot than you do on your right?
Yeah, and it's a little snug. Anyway, I was showing off on the plane, had my hat on, wanted everybody to think I was a cowboy. And I sat next to a guy, and I'll tell you how interesting he was. He couldn't decide whether his favorite town was Bakersfield or Moline. I want to play golf in Moline with you, too.
Must have been exciting.
With y'all.
Oh, we got to take a break. We'll be
Okay.
right back after this. No, stay with us.
Hey, how you doing?
That's pretty good. Hey, give me a beer and whiskey over here, will you? Why don't you and me get in the truck downtown and have a few beers and beat up on the sissy?
What's this telethon you're involved in?
Oh, my gosh.
Is this a
Thank you for
national,
asking. No. No, I tell you, it's for the Miller Park Zoo in my hometown. It was last
You're holding
week.
a telethon for the Miller Park Zoo?
Yeah, they tried to raise $3,500 to...
They threw a telethon for this?
Yeah, it was on the local TV station there.
Okay, you put me on now.
I'm not either. Miller Park Zoo had a telethon. It was last Saturday night. From, I think, somewhere it went on around 8, and then they lost power around 2 and went back on at 6, and at 2:30 they wrapped it up with the $3,500. Yeah, and
Did they get the money?
yeah, I wanted to do what I was hoping to do was to plug it network-wise. See, figured if everybody in America, you know how they give you that crap on those telethons, like the Variety Club telethon this weekend is really a good one, and Monty Hall thing. That's nice, and everybody should help, and I'm all for that stuff. But they always say, folks, just if you all just send in $1. Well, if everybody sent in $1, hell, they'd have $200 million. Well, Bloomington, Illinois got $200 million for the zoo. Lord, they could get the zebra restriped and probably give the old lion there with the bad breath and the bad mane. They could trim that
What's
sucker.
the big attraction in the Miller Park Zoo?
72-year-old giraffe
72-year-old with arthritis, I suppose, in the neck.
and very bad teeth. You know, they one of the few giraffes in America that does squat to drink.
that sounds like a bad zoo.
And they'd have enough left over to maybe get rid of the smell. Oh, man, I got to tell you. No, they put the new hardwood floors in. And they got some new ropes for the monkey and put fresh water in. They got a monkey thing, you know, with no cage, just a little water thing that keeps him. And, you know, after 25 years in Bloomington, hell, who wants to get out or swim? Who cares? Bunch of bananas and folks.
That's
and
your
they got
hometown? That's Bloomington.
Yeah,
What's your
Bloomington,
hometown? New York, Paul?
Mount Vernon,
Mount
Ohio.
Vernon.
You know the funniest line I ever heard in my life? I don't know if it was you that said it, but someone said until you were 17 you thought gravy was a beverage.
That's a funny line.
No, in our home we used to have gravy festivals.
Gravy festival?
Really?
Oh, boy. Hey, that's a nice place where you come from.
Beautiful.
I was back there about a year ago, and I just love those. But they just love you.
Well, I tell you though, I agree with you about Houston, and I'm ending my tour in Houston. It's going to be a nice farewell to 12 weeks. I've never been around more gracious people than the Houston people.
I love them.
They meet you on the street and say, having a good time, Paul, and you sort of go, and they say, well, come on, they drop anything they're doing and take you with them and make sure you have a good time. And when this one guy I met, he said, now, you be there, it was my birthday, and he said, you be there at 4:30, we've got something little planned for you. And I said, well, I don't know. And he says, wait a minute. And he just took off his watch and said, here, now you be there at 4:30. And it was the most gorgeous watch. They cannot give you enough. Gave me the watch and said, now that'll make you remember, be there at 4:30. They just, it's incredible. And you just feel a super niceness. They just want you to have a great time.
It's the regular folk, too. I mean, there's a lot of money down there, boy.
A lot of money, and there's a lot of Houston's very young, and the building that's going on. And there's more entertainment in that town in one night than we could only play like a split week because the theater was that booked there.
You're playing at Jones Hall? Is that where you're playing, you know? Is that in Houston? I hope I didn't make a mistake. Yeah.
There are so many halls there, it's hard to keep track of where you are appearing because in one night, 9 and 10 rock concerts plus plays, it's really unbelievable. The town is a very cultural town.
We were at a place called Wood. Oh, boy, that's great. I can't think of the name. It's out in the woods. I felt like I was in camp. We were 55 miles away from downtown Houston, but that's nothing down there. Hell, they'll get in the car and say, you want to go get a beer? Sure. And they drive 700 miles to El Paso. Where are you? you taking me, man? Going through customs.
Going to a different time zone to get a beer.
But keep your shoes on because they'll mildew overnight.
Mildew overnight, and can't wear suppos, man. The humidity drops them right down to your ankles.
And Galveston. I made a side trip to Galveston. That is the wettest place I've ever been.
You wake up with moss on the north side of your leg. It's murder there. Oh, a message from Johnson's Wax, makers of fine products to help care for your home. Bob Uecker has been with us before. They laughed when I introduced him as Mr. Baseball. Bob did play in the majors for about 14 years. He did not have the most brilliant career. He is not in the Baseball Hall of Fame. He has been asked not to come near the Baseball Hall of Fame. But as a result of that baseball career, Bob became one of the voices of the Milwaukee Brewers, and this year he's also a commentator for ABC Monday Night Baseball. Would you welcome Bob Uecker? Mr. Baseball. Bob, before we talk about the baseball season, I've noticed this seems to be a trend or something that's happened. All guys who do sportscasting on television wear strange sports jackets. I mean, they seem to be, Haywood Hale Bruner wears things that are ungodly. All of the sportscasters wear. It's probably very nice. It's probably very expensive, but it is.
It's, I got it outside. It's $8 for the whole thing. Shoes. Guy out here on Alameda.
Uh-huh.
Asked me if I was coming in. And
operating out of an old Chevy station wagon. He picked it up.
$8 for the whole thing. Got to get it back by 8:30. So.
Well, let's talk about baseball. Now, spring season is it's underway, right?
Yeah,
we've
had.
Training,
we're underway 3 weeks now, and we had our spring training session again in Sun City, Arizona, which we talked about last year as a retirement community, and I ran into a thing out there last year, and we talked about it last year about you go in bars out there, and there's not many gals hanging around. You know, they got dummies that they blow up and sit at the bars next to you.
Well, it's a quiet community, right?
I had to tell you this. I got probably the social event of the spring out there this year. I got arrested for drunk driving on a Honda. And I'd never been through one of these things before. I like to, when I was a player, of course, I like to drink before a ball game to kind of get you keyed up.
That keyed you up, huh?
Yeah, it got you going a little bit, but we had a little session out at a place in Sun City this year. Myself and about 4 or 5 other ball players were going over a couple of hitters, you know, talking about.
Right.
And you get in there pretty good. We started throwing the hookers down, and about 11:30 at night, one of the kids that works in our clubhouse had a Honda motorcycle. So one of our other players took it around and rode it around out there, and as I said, Sun City is a retirement community, and they don't go for that. So they called the local police department out there, and he brought it back, and I got on it. I was just going to go around a couple of blocks, just take a spin on it, and I was in there. I was half in the bag. I'm not, I was drunk when he arrested me, but I hadn't shaved like for 2 days, and had a fishing hat pulled down over my head. My shoes were untied, and when he pulled me over, I asked him what he stopped me for, and he said for driving without a helmet. And he asked me if I'd been drinking, and I said, well, I've had a couple of cream of mints after dinner. He said, I'm going to give you the breath test. I want you to breathe in my face. So he stuck his face right up here, and I give him a little. And he said, I want the full boat, you know. So I give him the full one, and he told me that he thought that I'd had a few more. And I don't know if you've ever been through a drunk test. It's the most degrading thing. It's the first time I've ever been through one. But to be put out, I was in a little parking lot, and of course all the old people were standing around, they're getting their kicks. So he told me he was going to give me the test. Either that or you have to do a urinalysis test. And I don't want to do that in the parking lot with all my stuff.
All the older people there.
People looking around.
That's embarrassing, to say the least.
So he told me to put my hands behind my head, put your head back. And I don't believe anybody can do that if they're straight, and walk one foot after the other. So I did that and didn't do real well. And told me to put my arms out and touch my nose, which I figured was a cinch. Put one here and one down here. And then the coin test. You know, they drop the coins. They throw some coins on the ground. And this is the one that I was kind of geared up for. And I got all the coins. When I'm down at the last one, there's a beer cap, but it's embedded in the asphalt. And I'm trying to get it out.
Trying to get that one out.
That kind of cinched it.
That kind of wrapped it up.
That kind of wrapped it up. I got. They dropped the drunk driving charge because I was out there in spring training.
Certainly.
Doing a lot of goodwill for the other people out there, some of the older folks out there. Right. But they gave me a 5-day deal where you had to stand on the golf carts out there. Everybody drives golf carts, and they play a kind of a bumper pool with you. The old people get their kicks.
I see. Well, got to have something to do there in their declining years.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Do you miss playing baseball? You know, a lot of athletes now say that the young people who compete in athletics today, it's not fair because, for example, pole vaulters, they use now the aluminum pole when other guys had to use bamboo. Ball players have got better bats and so forth, so all the records is different equipment. You ever think of records you might have said because of the
I don't know if
equipment's
it's
different?
The equipment is different. I go along with that. I can remember being a catcher, and I'm sure a lot of guys that ever played baseball or a lot of former catchers in years gone by. Nowadays, the catchers that you see playing baseball now, they wear that golf glove inside the catcher's mitt to absorb some of the shock, from the ball that is being thrown. And years ago,
And you were a catcher.
Catcher. And years ago, we used to use a falsie. This is a true story, a falsie that goes inside of a gal's...
Well, we don't know what that is, sure.
And only because of the fact that it was...
Even non-ball players.
Yeah, non-ball players. But what it did, it's a sponge. It's a piece of sponge that absorbs the shock of the ball. That's really all it boils down to. But I think when you're a kid and, going into a store, trying to... you hang around the lingerie counter for a while. You try to convince the lady behind the counter that you need a falsie for your catcher's glove.
Embarrassing.
She asks you if you want a bra for your bat or something like that. That's why years ago I think you saw... like it never bothered you, like you're losing 16-0 in the 5th inning, but the catcher's sitting back there smiling, having a nice time. Catcher's on the bench. You got your glove on and you got
something to kill time with. Bob, let me ask you this. There's a lot of controversy about hockey being rough, but baseball season's 3 weeks old, and I read the other day about they're throwing beanballs, which is trying to hit the hitter, right? There have been several incidents already of pitchers throwing at batters.
They had an incident... I think it's the first time that 2 pitchers have actually come out and said they were trying to
they said
somebody.
They said if we can hit you, we can hit you if we want to.
It happened in the ball game in St. Louis. The St. Louis Cardinals playing the Mets. And Lynde McLaughlin and John Matlack, who pitches for the New York Mets, actually got involved in a beanball deal where they're trying to...
That ball comes in, 100 miles an hour or something?
Yeah, they're trying to decapitate somebody, And...
Is that to throw fear into the batters when they come up there, knowing that
I think it does.
They might brush them back a little bit, or...
That happened to me. I sent my laundry out. I don't want the clubhouse guy doing it.
When you were in the majors, did they ever try to throw... Well, you weren't the greatest hitter. Nothing personal, but you admit yourself you did not have a great lifetime record of home runs,
I didn't. You know what's bad about following a guy? I played on ball clubs where you had good hitters. The Cardinals, or the Braves with Henry Aaron. You're a guy, that guy hits a home run, and you're the next guy up. You go. They don't knock him down, you get it. And I called a lot of them when I was catching.
Yeah.
I got my kicks, watching some pitcher throw at some guy's coconut.
Yeah.
Plus, when a fight would start, I'd leave all the stuff on, go out there with the mask, and...
Well, that's right. You have all the shin protectors.
Yeah. I was more of a sucker puncher. Just walk around the circle and hit guys in the back of the neck. It happened.
But you kept the gear on between.
Oh, I kept the gear on. That was my strong suit. We had a deal in Philadelphia one day. We got in one of those kind of deals, and it didn't work. Two players grabbed me, one on each arm, and the other guy standing right in front of me lifted my mask up and, give me a shot in the chops, and it kind of aggravated me because they were on my club.
What was your batting average again?
I had a lifetime batting average of 200, which some people would laugh at. But I never cared. I never really did care. I thought, to me, after the game was much more important than the game itself. I've had some of my best nights
after the game.
When you go out and pound it, I think any player with ability can play. I think for a guy to go out every night and really punish himself.
And be back on the field the next day.
Yeah, come back the next day and you're hungover and you got bad breath and you go out for the umpires meeting and nobody wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
You look at Dave Kingman now with the New York Mets is off to an outstanding year.
What's he at 12?
Mike Schmidt.
12, 14 home runs already?
Well, Schmidt, I believe, has got 11 or 12. Kingman's got 9. They're only hurting themselves. I tried to stay around, maybe 1, 2 home runs a year, maybe 3 or 4 runs batted in. Because when you get up in that category, the next year they're going to expect the same thing from you, or even more. And
so you played it cool.
You play it cool. I remember to go home after I think I wanted 3 for 4 one time, and I went home and I had a base hit in April, 1 in May, 1 in June. You go home and talk to your old man. My old man loved baseball. He loved sports, and when I'd have those problems, he's the only guy I could really go to, I guess. Paul was talking about his dad before. I'll never forget when you have those problems. You walk up, what are you going to do? He said, why don't you get a job? I think these are the things that
you remember that your folks helped you.
Oh, sure.
You sound like a wonderful man.
Oh, he's great. He came to this country as a soccer player, and he blew up the balls is what he did.
Look, he was on the team. He's on the team. That's the main thing. We'll take a break, and we'll be right back after this. Carol Wayne has been our matinee lady regularly on our Tea Time movie and also a regular on the NBC game show Celebrity Sweepstakes. Would you welcome Miss Carol Wayne? You're out here. Did you hear our baseball discussion?
I did.
You were an ice skater. You don't know anything about baseball, do you? Or do you? I shouldn't say
No.
that. Why shouldn't you know something about baseball?
I know more than I knew. Because on Celebrity Sweepstakes, they asked me, what is a suicide squeeze? And I said it's in arm wrestling. But it's not. It's in baseball.
What is it? What is a suicide?
What is a
Peter Marshall's boy plays with the Chicago Cubs.
That's right. That's right. He does.
That's right.
Did
I
he
don't
come
know.
in-
I don't know what a suicide squeeze is.
Did he squeeze?
The squeeze played a
I
second
saw
base.
him after a game a couple nights. He wasn't good.
I know where your outer field and your inner field is, though.
Well, that could come into play, I
Could go either
suppose.
way.
Yes. I know you ice skated.
Yes.
Were you active in any other sports?
I was captain of the girls' basketball team.
Really?
Yes.
What school was that?
A religious school.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Were you a good basketball player?
Yes, I was the captain.
Well, the captain is not always the best player.
Oh. But I was. I ran at it and got it in and did a little, I did that.
I don't know much about that. What's a slam dunk?
That's when you're right at the hole and you just dunk it in.
That's good. But they didn't have that term, did they, when you played?
No, they said get it in the hole.
$29, $30, $31, $32, $33. Not I, said the little red hen. I'm not gonna jump on that. And I suggest none of you do either. Just basketball, that was it, huh?
Yeah. Well, we played field hockey, too. Little tunics, little sticks.
Yeah. Was it you say religious school? Was it
Yes.
very disciplined?
Yes.
Did you ever get to see boys at all?
Sure, they went.
Oh, I see. It was a co-ed.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They played the violin a lot, though.
Who plays the violin?
The boys played the violin, and the girls played the sports.
I see. Okay. Sounds like a weird school, but, every school sets their own policy. How's your marriage? You
My
talked about
marriage
that.
is sensational.
Except you hurt yourself skiing, you mentioned last time you were on the show, on your honeymoon.
No, I didn't. I was sensational skiing. That's my other good thing that I do. I get down that mountain. I just can't wait. But you know what happened? I came home, and he said, go get something downstairs, and I fell all the way down the stairs and broke my coccyx. Well, that can ruin a honeymoon. It ruined it. They can't put it in a cast. They can't put it in a sling. You have to lay down for 3 weeks. Still.
34, 35, 36, 37. That's very painful also.
Very painful. Extreme. It's terrible when you bend your frame. A bent frame it's so awful not to be able to get comfortable.
You're right.
Yeah.
Well.
And I discovered being sick, too, that my body is my temple. And now I exercise diligently.
Do you really?
I love it.
Oh, that's good. What do you do?
Well, I do leg pulls and arm pulls and sit-ups. And I go to yoga class at Carol Burnett's house. We
Do you?
laugh. Yeah.